Let's talk George Pickens and the
Oh, yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, the gift that continues to give. The question is this: should the Cowboys sign George Pickens to a long term deal?
No, I've been consistent on this for a while. I know that Cowboys fans didn't like it when I said it, but I will ask you this question, Keith. If you sign George Pickens, are you a Super Bowl team?
Nope.
That's it. That's the answer to your question. You cannot continue to just sign players to max deals and give money when you talk about CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and George Pickens taking up 60% of your total salary cap. You ain't winning shit in the NFL like that. It's bad business. And at some point, if you're going to sign George Pickens, and I think the report that came out from Ian Rappaport was that they were going to tag and trade him, which I think makes the most sense. If you tag him, it's the most friendly version of the deal. It's the most likely ability for them to then go give a team the ability to know they're going to have him for 1 year, and then that team can work out the deal for him in the long term. I understand the talent. I'm not here to argue the talent. He's a very talented player. But the reality is, what did we talk about at the top of the show? Timing. The timing is off. The timing is not right for this deal because you already are signed Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. You cannot sign two number ones. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals how that shit's working out for them. It's not because you cannot. This is not Madden. You need to play defense and you need to have players along both sides of your line. And if you keep playing guys on the outside, but you don't pay guys on the inside, you're going to learn a lesson that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals have learned over the last few years. Doesn't matter how good your quarterback is if he's not healthy. And Dak Prescott suffered the same problems because they're not building within the trenches. That football has not changed. I don't understand why people keep wanting to make things different. It's not. Football is about the trenches. It always has been. If you cannot protect your quarterback, if you cannot get after the quarterback, you will not win in this league. Period. End of story. So, as talented as George Pickens is, this team is not a wide receiver 2 away from being a Super Bowl team because we saw that version of the offense this year. And what did we see on defense? The worst defense in the NFL. They need to go get players on defense and they need to trade George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb. If you're gonna keep George Pickens, then you're gonna have to get rid of one contract. You can't have both. And that's the problem that they're in right now, Keith.
Yep. No, I look at the George Pickens situation, and I think that they should not sign George Pickens, right? If they sign him, they should sign and trade him. But you cannot have him on the roster. Signing George Pickens does nothing but further emphasize the issue with the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys for the past 15 or 20 years have been a franchise that has been top heavy. They've been star driven, right? They have three or four guys that they can market to everybody, and then everybody thinks that the Dallas Cowboys are a really good football team because they have three or four Pro Bowlers, right? But when you look at the positions that matters, right? The linebacker, the safeties, the interior defensive line position, the offensive line position. It's been a while since the Cowboys have been really good at those positions. Now, do they do a great job of marketing the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver? Yes, but that doesn't win football games, especially talking about getting into the playoffs, right? And ultimately, if Jerry Jones wants to win a Super Bowl, he's going to have to start giving a damn about the positions that don't drive ratings, right? The positions that don't drive attraction and don't put butts in the seat, but they win football games at the end of the day. And so I look at Jerry Jones and I say, yeah, like this is more of the same, but also leave it to the Dallas Cowboys to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who historically have dealt with character issues, right?
Yes,
And
I
then
know.
they trade for George Pickens, right? Trade for another wide
Yeah.
receiver who then goes on to be top five in the league in receiving yards. And
Mhm,
then now you're stuck with the situation of do we
mhm.
pay him or not, right? Like
Yeah,
leave that to of course the Dallas Cowboys made that move, right? A guy
of
that's
course.
on the last year of his deal and needs to get paid, and then now you create another offseason fiasco. I just think with the Dallas Cowboys, I go back to this situation. You have to remember this, and you want to know, and I'm gonna make Cowboys fans angry, but it is what it is, right? I'm gonna tell you something. The players for the Dallas Cowboys don't take the Cowboys serious. If you go
Nope.
back to the Pro Bowl game, I believe if somebody was interviewing George Pickens, right? And
Mhm.
George Pickens and Michael Parsons were standing right next to each other. And they were having a conversation. The guy interviewing the reporter interviewing him asked him in context of basically what is, are you going to sign with the Dallas Cowboys? Has there been an extension in place? XYZ, right? You know who walks across the screen? CD Lamb. CD Lamb turns and looks at the camera and kind of like a bullshit type of way, like, okay, here we go again with this bullshit, right? So that lets you know that CeeDee Lamb, right? That's Micah Parsons, who used to play for the Dallas Cowboys, who left unceremoniously, who people were vocal about, and then there's George Pickens. So that's three guys who were either in the locker room or were part of the locker room and were superstars for the Dallas Cowboys in the past 2 years that all kind of think it's a game, it's a circus, right? And they understand the circus that it is. And so so Cowboys fans, if y'all want to understand why you're not winning, it's because nobody takes this serious. This is a
No,
joke. This is Hollywood. This is foreplay. This is not a serious football franchise. This is
no.
about driving ratings. This is a reality TV show, right? And you
Yeah.
have a bunch of good actors and you have stars for that. So I looked at that situation, and when I seen CeeDee Lamb do it, I'm like, yeah, like I mean, it to me it was just self-explanatory. Like you don't see franchises winning Super Bowls, their star receiver getting on there with an ex-player who left, and then kind of basically saying, "Here we go with this drama again."
Yeah, and it's because what you said, Jerry Jones has been so focused on star driven, star drama that he
Mhm.
forgot that you know what else puts butts in seats and drives valuation?
Winning.
Winning.
Yep.
That's what does the highest level of things you can do. Because the Philadelphia Eagles, last time I checked, they were right above you, big dog. They got the same evaluation that you do, and
Yeah,
they're
they
not
coming.
spending the same amount of
Yep,
money that you are. You're
they are
spending a lot
coming.
more money. People understand a valuation is a fake number. It's a number based off of nothing. It's a number that I can sell you. Hey, it's based off of this, this, and this, but it changes, it fluctuates, and it's also not the amount of money that that team has. Okay, it's
Mm-mm.
not dollars in the bank account. That's not what a valuation is. So I think that's the other part is the Cowboys also spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money not only on their team, but off the field as well in how they market things and how they build things because Jerry's all about the drama and the star and the glitz and glamour. And the problem is he forgot that you can have all that but
And
also
win.
win football games because you had that in the 90s, but you had Emmitt Smith, you had Troy Aikman, and you had Michael Irvin. And you know what the commonality between all three of those guys were? They wanted to win more
Mm-hmm.
than anything. That's it. Those were guys that were willing to do anything that they could to win football games. And that's the part that I think has really become lost with the Cowboys is you can have it all, Jerry. And in fact, you have had it all. You just forgot, then got caught up in the wrong things. And I think if they sign George Pickens and don't trade him, it will be more of the same. And I understand Cowboys fans, you argued in my mentions before, bring it on back, baby, because I can't wait for you to win 7 or 8 games and be on the outside looking in again because your team sucks. That's it. You don't have good line. You don't have good line play. You know what's going to happen to Dak Prescott? He's not going to have time to get the football to either of those wide receivers. So good luck with that. It's not a good strategy. It's not your defense and your offensive line have been bad for a long time. And you know what wins football games? Having good play in the trenches. I don't know how many times Keith and I got to say this on the podcast before you guys get that through your thick skulls. I know Cowboysism is it's a little bit of a disease, right? You got to really work through that to break through and get them to understand things. But, you know, Keith is a long time suffering. He's a recovering Cowboys fan. So he can help y'all with that. He can help y'all with that.